Okay, let's talk about weight loss. It feels like a maze, right? There's so much advice out there, and half of it seems to contradict the other half. It's confusing. It's overwhelming. Well, today we are going to cut right through all that noise.
We're going to get straight to the point and tackle this huge question. Between all the fad diets, the workout trends, and now these new medications making headlines, what actually works? And maybe even more important, what's truly safe? Let's break down what the science has to say.
So, to make sense of all this, we're going to look at it as a spectrum of intensity, broken down into 3 tiers. We're starting at the bottom, with Tier 1, the foundation. This is the bedrock, the stuff you should be thinking about long before you ever consider a specific, named diet.
And what's so interesting here is how simple it is. The most effective place to start isn't about restriction, it's about what you include. Foods like lean proteins and high-fiber veggies, they make you feel full. It's a concept called satiety. And when you feel full, you naturally manage how much you eat. So don't think of these as diet foods. Think of them as the fundamental building blocks for your body.
And on the practical side of things, the UK's National Health Service lays it out with some super simple do's and don'ts. The whole focus is on building good habits, swapping that sugary drink for water, and just avoiding the common traps. For example, skipping meals almost always backfires and leads to you overeating later. It's these small, consistent choices that really build momentum over time.
And that's really the key takeaway for this whole first tier, sustainability. Look, crash diets might give you a quick result on the scale, but the science, and let's be honest, our own experiences, show they almost never work in the long run. The real goal is to build habits that you can actually stick with for life.
All right, so once you've got that foundation locked in, we can move up to Tier 2. This is where we get into more structured strategies. Now, these aren't necessarily drastic, but they do require a bit more deliberate planning and effort.
A super popular strategy that you've probably heard of is intermittent fasting. The whole goal is to achieve something called metabolic switching. The idea here, coming from Johns Hopkins neuroscientist Mark Mattson, is that if you go long enough without eating, your body runs out of its easy-to-access sugar stores and is forced to start burning body fat for fuel instead.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, the most common way is the 16-8 method. You just set up your day so you have a 16-hour fasting window. For a lot of people, this is as simple as skipping breakfast and not having any late-night snacks. It's a pretty straightforward way to try and trigger that metabolic switch every single day.
Now let's switch gears to exercise. There's a really good reason you hear so much about high-intensity interval training, or HIIT. Studies are showing that if you have a limited amount of time, a HIIT workout can burn a whopping 25 to 30% more calories than doing steady cardio like just jogging or biking.
So what's the secret? It's all about intensity. We're talking short, all-out bursts of effort, followed by periods of recovery. And this approach doesn't just torch more calories during the workout. The real magic is that it also cranks up your metabolic rate for hours after you're done.
And that brings us to the very top of our spectrum, Tier 3, medical interventions. Now, these are incredibly powerful tools, no doubt about it, but they also come with the highest level of intensity and risks that absolutely demand careful medical supervision. You've probably seen these names in the headlines. Drugs like Wegovy and Zepbound. They work by mimicking certain gut hormones that basically tell your brain you're full and slow down how fast your stomach empties. The results can be pretty dramatic. We're talking significant weight loss. For many people, this has been a total game changer. But, and this is a huge but, that is not the whole story. And this is where we have to get really serious, because alongside those benefits are some well-documented, very serious risks. The Guardian has reported on cases of pancreas problems, including acute pancreatitis, that have been linked to these GLP-1 drugs. This isn't just a minor side effect. It's a severe condition that can require hospitalization and in some rare cases has even been fatal. Now, the manufacturers themselves list pancreatitis as an uncommon side effect, affecting roughly 1 in 100 patients. But when you're talking about something this severe, even uncommon is a risk that you just can't ignore. It really highlights why these medications must only ever be used under strict medical supervision. But look, these serious risks aren't just for medications. Any form of weight loss, especially if it happens too quickly, can have these hidden costs. And this applies across every single tier we've talked about. It's so important to understand what you might be losing besides just fat. So when you see that number on the scale going down, it's not all fat that's disappearing. A really big chunk of it is often essential lean mass. We're talking muscle and even your bones. And losing too much of that stuff can seriously impact your strength, your metabolism, and your long-term health. This next concept might just be the single biggest challenge in all of weight management. It's what explains that incredibly frustrating yo-yo effect. It's called metabolic adaptation. Basically, as you lose weight, your body's survival instincts kick in. It becomes more efficient and starts burning fewer calories when you're just resting. Your body is literally working against you, trying to regain the weight it lost. Another big risk? Nutrient deficiencies. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you're cutting calories way back or eliminating entire food groups, you can easily deprive your body of the essential vitamins and minerals it needs, which can lead to fatigue and a whole host of other issues.
And what about your bones? Yeah, that's another one. Significant weight loss, especially if you're not doing any resistance training to counteract it, can actually reduce your bone density, and that increases your risk of fractures later in life.
And we absolutely cannot forget about the psychological side of all this. The intense focus, the restriction, it can take a real toll, leading to things like fatigue, irritability, and anxiety. The mental journey is every bit as important as the physical one.
So, after walking through this entire maze, from the foundational habits all the way up to powerful medications and the risks that come with all of it, what's the real bottom line here? Well, here's what it all boils down to. First, there's no magic bullet. Sorry, there just isn't. Second, the best approach is always going to be the one you can stick with consistently. Speed is way less important than sustainability. Every single strategy has trade-offs, which is why, especially for the intense stuff, medical guidance isn't just a suggestion, it's essential. And maybe the most important point of all, the goal shouldn't just be about a number on a scale. It should be about your overall health.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. What is the real goal here? Is it just to chase a number, just to lose weight, or is it something bigger, something more lasting? Is the goal to lose weight, or is it to truly gain health? Thanks for joining me.